Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day. Today is the start of Chapter 4 Defying the Odds, and it brings us a new map and a new weapon. Unfortunately though, the new map Al Sundan is only playable on 2 game modes, and those are Team Deathmatch and Squad Conquest. But do not worry, 64 player Conquest will be added later on once the performance issues are fixed. So the gameplay you're seeing in the background is of TDM only, and the weapon that I'm using is the S2-200. The latest addition to the support class, and you've guessed it, it's another MMG. The third one in fact, and some players will love it and some certainly won't. The S2 is the predecessor of the MG34 and MG42. It was designed in Germany, but due to domestic production restrictions, it was manufactured abroad and exported to several other countries including Hungary and the Austrian army, who adopted it as the MG30. To unlock the new weapon, you will need to complete this week's assignment tree, and the route I took is on screen right now if you want to take a similar path. As always, if you miss out on this week's reward, you will be able to purchase the new gun with company coin in a week's time. The S2 comes with a 30 round magazine and a rate of fire of 770 rounds per minute, which is very much in line with the real life version, but that sadly means we're stuck with a 30 round magazine for good. The rate of fire can be upgraded though through the specialization tree by a further 130, but more on that later. The S2 is one of only 2 MMGs that can fire in semi-automatic as well as fully automatic, the other being the MG34. Not that you need it, but the big takeaway is that both MGs share the same abilities and thus play a very similar role. When it comes to optics, the magnifications available are no different to any other MMG, but there is a slight visibility advantage to be had over the MG42, MG34 and VGO, who all have a tinted reflex sight. And while we're on the topic of magnifications, it does make me wonder if DICE will ever add a more magnified scope to a future MMG. Looking at it from an objective point of view, the S2 could have gotten away with a slightly altered 2x scope because of its really small magazine size, but I guess that wouldn't have gone down well with the player base. If you're wondering what the stats are, it deals the same amount of damage as any other MMG and LMG. So that means you'll need to land 4 bullets up to 10 meters to finish off an opponent, 5 from 11 to 50 meters, and a maximum of 6 bullets from 51 meters onwards. Of course, if you decide to add headshots into the mix, then the 2x headshot multiplier will reduce the amount of bullets needed by almost half, and that's really what you should be aiming for in order to preserve ammo, but that's easier said than done. As per usual, the best TTK is very much reliant on the rate of fire, and when compared to the rest, the S2 is a middle ground MMG that's got a better TTK than the MG34, and if you take velocity into account, then it's also fractionally better than the M1922, even though both share the same rate of fire. Once the RPM is upgraded to 900 rounds per minute and all other MMGs receive their rate of fire buff, it very much keeps its middle ground position and is outperformed by the MG42 and VGO. So it's not the most deadliest MMG, and if you were to base it on TTK alone, you're very much better off with the VGO or MG42, who both have a larger magazine as well. But don't be put off by that yet. There are a few standout features that can't go unnoticed, and the reload is one of them. The time it takes to reload when empty is 2.4 seconds and 2.1 seconds with bullets remaining. That gives it the fastest empty reload in the entire game and a faster tactical reload than any other MMG, LMG, assault rifle except for the rebuy rolls, and most SMGs. As you can tell, that's extremely fast, and whether you decide to reload tactically or not, it doesn't really matter. Certainly one of its key strengths, and it's all due to the small detachable box magazine. The starting bullet velocity is 740, which is faster than the M1922 but on par with the rest. Once you upgrade it though, the bullet speed increases to 840 meters per second, and it becomes equally as fast as the upgraded MG34. So it's got as much range as the best long range MMG, which makes moving targets fairly easy to land on regardless of distance. Plus, if you compare the specialization trees, it slightly favours the S2 as it doesn't need to sacrifice recoil buffer in order to get faster bullets, and that in turn makes it a bit more accurate and more effective at range. Speaking of recoil, the horizontal recoil is identical to the MG34, but the MG34 is still slightly easier to control as it fires 100 rounds per minute less. However, if you upgrade the S2 with all the right specializations, it becomes extremely easy to control and is almost unrivaled. So what are the best specializations and what path should you take? For my first pick, I decided to go for recoil buffer as the reload speed is more than adequate, so there's no need to waste a specialization on quick reload. Recoil buffer will further improve the recoil of the weapon, especially if you decide to increase the rate of fire later on in the tree. However, I decided to stick to the path and opted to go for ported barrel next. The main reason for that is optimal accuracy is essential when you've got such a small magazine, and minimizing the recoil helps me stay on target. My third pick is improved bipod, and that further nullifies recoil and spread. No other MMG has access to the improved bipod specialization, therefore it's arguably the most important one yet, because when combined with the two recoil buffers above, the S2 becomes the most accurate and easy to control MMG, overthrowing the previous king of range, the MG34. And for my last pick, I decided to go for faster bullets, and that increases the velocity by a further 100, turning the S2 into a highly accurate laser beam that can pick off opponents from afar without much difficulty. Overall, taking everything into account, the S2 is by far the most unique MMG in Battlefield 5, and unlike the rest, you won't need to worry about overheating. The lightning fast reload speed and the competitive TTK, while being highly accurate, makes for a dream MMG. However, its biggest downside cannot be ignored. The 30 round magazine severely limits its capabilities and perhaps is a bit too punishing for a bipod dependent weapon. And that's really what it all comes down to. Do you sacrifice a larger magazine size for superb accuracy and mobility? Will I pick the S2 200 over any other MMG? No. Even though I've enjoyed playing with it so far, I simply can't get over the 30 round magazine limit. Perhaps a hipfire spec instead of quick reload would certainly make it more compelling. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below, leave a rating, and I'll see you later. Take care.